I've been doing sit-ups. I've been doing chin-ups. I've been doing pull-ups. I threw up once, but I'm okay now.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Ysn Power Hour on this Monday, the 16th of May, 2022. DJ Yoakley with you, and man, am I happy to be with you today. It's such a great day. It was rain early, but it looks like Mother Nature is going to step aside and let baseball and softball be played today. I'll give you an update on all the games that are still going on and the ones that aren't here on the Power Hour, so make sure you stay tuned for that. We've got one of the great ones, one of the best in the area, one of the best for a long time here on the Power Hour today. Darius Beck joins the show at the 3:30 mark. He talks about a lot of things. He talks about what's different about this team, what makes this Salem baseball team so dangerous. He talks about, some of the obstacles and adversity that he's overcome, that he's faced along the way. We do a little rapid fire, and then, I'll be real with you. He gets real at the end. And it really, when these players, these student athletes, these coaches, and these programs are able to kind of break down some of the barriers, and maybe let you get to know them a little bit better, it puts things in perspective really, really quickly. So it is an interview you are not going to want to miss. We'll have Darius on at 3:30. He sat down with me a little earlier. Obviously, Salem on the road today for another game, getting prepared and heading towards that postseason mark and the time of year that everything counts. And my goodness, has it been a postseason to remember on both sides of the coin, softball and baseball already for some of our local teams. And we'll talk more about that not only today, but as the week goes on and the playoffs continue to unravel. But before we get to any of that and all of that, we will get to On This Day in Sports History, and let's roll it. On this day in sports history, 1984, McKay, I guess. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Mackay, not Mickey. McKay pays $218,718 for 44,166 tickets to keep the Twins in Minnesota. The Twins sell 51,863 tickets, but only 6,346 fans show up for the game. So, the takeaway is somebody paid a lot of money to buy a lot of tickets, and not a whole lot of people showed up to the ball game. But he did it in good faith to make sure that the team stayed put in Minnesota. In the what do they call it out there? It used to be it was a dome. It wasn't it a dome in Minnesota? Well, I forget what they call it. The Vikings played there. The Twins played there. Now they've got their own facilities. Target Field, I think it is now in Minnesota. What did it used to be? The Twin Dome? Sounds right, but I don't think that's right. I think I messed that one up. You tell me, what was that? In Minnesota, they had the what was the dome called? So with all of that said and done, the On This Day in Sports History usually leads into a question that I want to know from you. Given yesterday's shenanigans with the Pirates and the Reds, and the Pirates winning a game that they didn't even get a hit in, 1-0. How much would you spend out of your pocket to keep your favorite team in your favorite city? And it doesn't have to be the city you live in. It can, if you're like Anthony Hartwig's a Chiefs fan, a Royals fan, how much money would you pony up to keep your favorite team in your favorite city? I'm going to be honest with this one. I'm not going to pony up a whole lot. Like if the Pirates packed up today and said, we're out of here, I would be so mad. Because throughout all this, the shenanigans that they've pulled from the top down, the fans have continued to show up at PNC Park, support the Pirates. Not as much as they did in the glory years, the Andrew McCutcheon, the Neil Walker years, AJ Burnett, the wild card rounds, the blackout, so to speak. They haven't showed up in they haven't showed up in droves like they have in yesteryear. But this Pirates team, not that bad. Not that bad. Not going to lose 100 games. I'm looking at you, Sigler. Not going to lose 100 games. They could. I still don't know how I feel about this. I feel like I'm getting my hopes up again on a Pirates team that's just going to let me down. We're not going to playoffs. Don't get excited. We're not going to playoffs. It's bad when your one goal is to not lose 100 games. It's not a good goal. It's like, I just want to wake up in the morning. It should be inevitable. You should bank everything based off of that. Pirates are not going to go to the playoffs. The Hubert Humphrey Metrodome. I like it. The Metrodome. That's what it was. Good call, Siggy. Good call. Lynn Daly says, I do the same thing every year. See, I'm in love with the Pirates. Love. To the point where I spent a good portion of our finances one year building a man cave that one side of it is completely dedicated to the Pirates and PNC Park. Like my entire basement on one side, man cave, whatever you want to call it, is dedicated to the Pirates. I like, obviously I love the Steelers. I love the Penguins. God bless them. But if a team wanted to get up and go, leave, like Cleveland did, the Browns did many years ago, right? I'm not sure that I'd be out there spending, what did that guy spend? $200 and some $1,000 on tickets to keep them here. That's not my responsibility. If they're not financially sound enough in this day and age of marketing it is what you make it, then that's on them. That's on them. I have such a hard time, even in high school and Little League. I mean, all of these athletic, I don't even know where to start. The athletic world, the marketing is at your fingertips. Literally, it's at your fingertips. Being able to jump on Facebook and being able to jump on social media, do your thing, push it out there. And people just don't. Schools don't, as much as they probably should. And a lot of them will admit to that. You know, and a lot of these athletic directors now are having social media pages put into their list of responsibilities. Like, if nobody knows a game is happening, who's going to go to it? And in today's world, there's just no reason to not be able to communicate that there is or isn't a game. Especially given if you have a sports news network that's running TV shows, talk shows 4 hours a day. And I'm not pointing a finger at anybody. I just don't understand that. You know, we talked about the games that are happening and not happening today. it's one of those things, like, we're very fortunate that we've had athletic directors and had people say, hey, you need to look into this site because you'll know first, because they cancel the officials first because they're paying them. And if an official shows up and you didn't tell that official, you still have to pay that official. Like, you can't just have them show up for work and, oh, sorry, we forgot to call you. Like, then you're out $70, $80, 90, $100, whatever that is. You're out. But in this day and age, ladies and gentlemen, there's no reason that we should not know when a game is going to happen or not going to happen. And that's some of the trouble is you want your athletic department to run and look like and feel like basically anything you see out there. And I'm going to defend the athletic department here. I am. Usually the athletic department is 1 to 2 people, right? You got an athletic director and maybe an assistant athletic director, maybe a secretary, but they are not your, what you're looking at for the Cleveland Guardians or the Pittsburgh Pirates or Steelers, especially the Browns. And like, they've got creative directors, they've got PR people, they have just a list that goes on, and they've got 20 people that make up that one post that they all check off their list, right? If we're looking, and parents and guys like us at YSN, and we're looking to this athletic director, still poor men and women who have yet to get a pat on the back from surviving COVID, to be able to sit there and put out a graphic and make sure that it goes on social media, on all their social media pages, because heaven forbid you're looking on Facebook and or you're not looking on Facebook and it appears there. Or you're looking on Twitter and it's only on Facebook. Like, it's a world out there. It's a world that a lot of people are just looking for convenience, and they don't want to necessarily look behind the curtain. The reality is these athletic directors are working their tails off. These athletic departments are working their tails off. These coaches, a lot of times, are in charge of their own social media social media, pages, and they're doing the best they can. But by the way, they also have to make sure that your children are safe, your children are prepared, your children are, the list goes on and on. When did we stop being thankful and grateful for what is given to us? And the expectations have far surpassed the gratefulness that we've given to programs and coaches and athletic directors and athletic departments and superintendents and things of that nature. I am confused where we got caught up in, you should be doing this because they're doing this. Like, your athletic department is not trying to keep up with the Joneses, for better and for worse. Your coaches should not be responsible for making sure that you have a lineup card that's out there so you can make sure your son or daughter is batting 3rd or 4th in that lineup before you even leave work. I'm sorry. And if you got a coach that does that, God bless them. God bless them. Because they're going above and beyond. But the problem has become, when they go above and beyond, it's not a pat on the back. It's, what else you have for me? The hand's always out. Asking, wanting, needing more. Well, that's great that we have this, but we don't have that. Folks, you got to relax. Got to relax. Because what you're not remembering, what we're not keeping in the forefront of our mind, is the fact that just 2 years ago, we were begging athletic directors to just let us play. Let us play. We want to play baseball. We want to play softball. We want to run track and field. We want to play lacrosse. We want to do. They couldn't do anything. Their hands were tied then. And now, once we got them untied and they've done everything, they went toe-to-toe with the OHSAA. They have been advocating for your son, your daughter, we're just going to sit there and go, no. No, we want more. Keep it coming. Come on. Keep it coming. What else you got for me? This is a two-way street, though. Because in the world of open enrollment, the same way as in the world of the transfer portal, it's become a what have you done for me lately crowd on both ends of the spectrum. Well, if you don't do this for me, my kid's gone. Can't do that. Well, you can. Let me stop right there. You can do that. Probably shouldn't do that. Shouldn't do that. With this NIL stuff that is seemingly on the horizon, let me give you parents a quick tip before this gets blown out of proportion. You know, there's nobody that roots for your son or daughter more than us here at YSN. Nobody. But at the same time, I'm going to give you a piece of information, give you a piece of advice, if you will. All this money that you think that little Joey or little Sally's going to bring in on NIL deals, you're out of your mind. If you can get it, go get it. If this deal goes through. But I'm going to tell you, I'm here to tell you that that little boy or that young man or that young lady or that little girl who you think is the next Mike Trout, the next Jenny Finch, the next name your player here, is not going to get a $1.1 million deal like you think they're going to do. It's not going to happen. And if it does, amazing. Kudos, and I will stand and clap, and I will be so excited for them. But I've got to be real with you. These sponsorship dollars that you think are out there, we don't have too many LeBron Jameses growing on trees. Even in this blessed area of Northeast Ohio, they're not growing on trees. They're not out there. Those $1 million deals are fairy tales. Settle for the pizza. Settle for, hey, I'll give you, a season's worth of pizza. You come in once a week, we'll feed you. Take it. Take it. Wear the Pizza Joe's wristband. Wear the Avalon downtown wristband. Whatever you have to do, take it. But saying to athletic directors, saying to the school board, saying to superintendents that my kid deserves more or I'm leaving, peace. You're not going to hold high schools hostage because your son or daughter deserves more. It doesn't work that way. First off, you're not there for athletics. And as someone who loves sports, let's break that down even further. You go to high school to earn an education, to acquire an education, to go do things in life that you are permitted to do because you are gifted the pursuit of happiness in this country. Sports are a business. That's what they are now. Sports are a business. And if you don't think that's the case, you've been living under a rock for the last 30, 40 years. It started a long time ago, right? Advertising. What shoes you're wearing. Who sponsors your jersey. Who sponsors your sleeve? It's all about sports is a business. It's just like everything else. It's not exempt. check in with Lynn. She says, you are 100% correct in everything you've said. Let's be grateful for youth and high school sports coaches do so much more than people realize. Respect is a two-way street. 100% accurate. Nikki C, I will gladly wear a Pizza Joe's hat every single time I play golf. He's ready. He's ready. Nikki C's ready for the NIL. I will say this, like, parents have a different thought process as to what their kids' value is. Right now, I'm sorry. This guy behind me, Tiger Woods, there's some good golfers out there. There's some great baseball players, some great softball players. I wouldn't know what to tell you about lacrosse. I'm sure there's some phenomenal lacrosse players, football players, basketball players, volleyball, you name it. Go up and down. I'm telling you, people think they're going to get rich off this NIL in high school, and it's not going to happen. Very rarely are you going to walk into a local pizza shop and walk out with a six-figure deal. Very rarely, if ever. So putting the cart before the horse here. You go to high school to acquire an education. In my case, I went to high school to acquire an education so I could go to a secondary education school, get more of an education, go out into the world and figure out who I am. Start a business. Here we are. Some of us are getting this backwards, right? Some of us are saying we're going to high school as just an avenue to play sports. And while I'll self-admittedly tell you that that was what I looked to when I was in high school, there's a lot of kids that are smarter than me and a lot of parents that are way smarter than I'll ever be. And they got it backwards. They have it backwards. Go to school, boost up your education, get good grades, get a great work ethic that you can use in sports. And if you're blessed enough, maybe you get to that level. Maybe you go D1, maybe you go D3, maybe whatever your path may be. Maybe you get into professional sports. That's awesome. Nobody's rooting harder for you to do that than I am. But let me say this is we think that with this NIL that we're shortcutting. We're short-circuiting the system of getting rich through sports, and that's not the case. Let me tell you this firsthand. Parents, student athletes, coaches, the second you attach a dollar sign and any type of value to yourself, to your business, to a service, to an NIL deal, you are accountable for that. You will hear about that. The same way that if you sign to go on to a Division I school and you don't perform necessarily at that level, you're going to hear about it on the football field, on the baseball field, on the volleyball court, on the basketball court. You're going to hear about it. There's going to be people that are rooting not only against you, but they are actively rooting against you because it's the told you so factor. It's the jealous factor. It's the hater factor. That's what we live in nowadays. Going back to what we started this conversation on. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not your athletic director's or athletic department's job to put out and post out special one-offs on your kid. That's not their job. Their job is to make sure that you have uniforms, that you have a bus that can take you from this place to this place, that there's money in your account from your team standpoint. That's their job, that you have teams scheduled to play. That's their job. Their job isn't to roam on Twitter and make sure that they put out your batting average and your stats and basically become a recruitment advisor for you. That's not their job. They're not a butler. They're not a recruitment service. They're your athletic department. And while that's very good whenever they can do it, it is not their primary responsibility. And I think we've started to get that twisted. And expectations from parents, from from athletes has gone bananas, because some schools do have athletic departments that do that, and they do have multiple people. Some of them have volunteers. You see it at the college level. Those people are paid. They're paid to do that. SIDs. And not paid enough, may I add. And that's a personal opinion. You should see some of the hours that these athletic directors, that these SIDs pull, not only at the high school level, but the collegiate level. Whew. Take a look. Nikki C says, there's a reason student comes before athlete in the phrase student athlete. You're exactly right, Nick. And you've done it the right way. So kudos to you. There it is. The kid who has the deal will be held accountable. Mom and dad cannot save them. No different than in real life. And that, well, here's the problem, Siggy. You're wrong on one account. Is that if they're under... I was fighting it. If they're under 18 years of age, mom and dad still have to sign consent. And that's where the trouble starts and ends. Is because if the accountability factor is this kid signs a deal for X and he gets Y, there's no real accountability for that kid because they're underage, but there is accountability for the parents. The same way that I was on my parents' insurance from the time I was 16 to the time I was 23. And then if I would have, and I didn't, if I would have gotten in an accident, it's on their insurance, not mine. They're responsible for it, not me. Now, they can obviously take it up in their own home, in their own four walls, and say, well, you got in an accident. It was a $400, fee for us. You got to pay $400. That's on them. And that point, you're right. But there's also parents that are going to go out there and go, well, that's not my problem. You're not getting any money from me. And then it winds up in the courts, and then what happens? What are they going to sue a minor? Now, their name's on the contract, but so are the parents. The parents are the ones that are going to have to pay that. That's not the student's responsibility per se. And that's where we're going to get in trouble with this. Somebody's going to get in a lot of trouble with this NIL stuff because they're not 18 years of age yet. It's coming, folks. It's coming. And listen, parents, I'm not telling you to stay away from it. If you think that you can go and your son or daughter can make money off of this, then go do it. More power to you. But I will, as someone who sells advertising in the sports world, I'm going to tell you the same thing that I tell everybody. Everybody says, well, what am I getting for $1,000? Right? Well, what's value? What's value of $1,000? What does $1,000 get you? Well, $1,000 gets you across the board, get you X, Y, and Z. Or $1,000 is going to get you, instead of $1,000, why don't we give you 100 pizzas? Here's a voucher for an entire year, right? An entire year. If I gave you a coupon voucher for an entire year of pizzas, that means you could eat one pizza every 3 days. You're probably more apt to get that. Let's be honest. You're probably not going to get free insurance. You're probably not going to get, the services are probably going to be a little bit harder to get because those are actual dollars that are going to come out. But the reality is, get comfortable with the pizza idea that you're probably going to get pizza. And there's guys like Nick that would love that. They'll wear a pizza hat every time they take the links. But the reality is he's going to do it for food. Will work for food. That's what it is. It's what it's going to be for a little bit. Until you find the LeBron James and you get $1 million from Nike, but those are the people that are going to do it. You're not going to get the $1 million checks from Little Nemos. It's not going to happen. They're feeling the pinch too. They're feeling it. And they know you are too. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Darius Beck going to join us. Don't go away. This break brought to you by our friends over at iSynergy.
Reliability, innovation, scale. These three values are those we look forward to in our business and in our team. If you're ready for a reliable employer who looks constantly to think outside the box in big ways, we're ready for you. Apply now. Help us push the envelope and deliver success. Envelope 1. Take that one extra step.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun, it all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi everybody, DJ Yoakley with you for another player profile, and I am joined by one of my brotherhood, my kin, my very own, my dude. It is a catcher, and as you know, I did my fair share of it back in the day, but not nearly as good as this young man. We are joined by Salem's Darius Beck, the all-conference player, and of course, many more accolades to come. Young man, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, very well. Not as well as you are, man. You've had quite the career at Salem. Talk to me about how this year has racked up your senior year as opposed to years past.
Well, this year's easily by far my best year. Last year I started off red hot, and then playoffs came around. Wasn't the greatest for me. I kind of started sleeping a little bit, but this year I've just been on top of things, and it's fallen into my hands. And yeah, we're just going to try and keep it going.
What's been the difference? I mean, obviously, when you go into the off season, there's things that you can work on. There's skill sets, drills that you can work on. But you said this is your best year by far. What did you do different last year going into this year that you didn't do the years prior?
It was definitely how I handled the off season. Last year I got into some good this year I got into some good hands in the off season. I started going to PPA. They got my speed up, started swiping bags early on in the season, and I fixed some stuff with my swing. I tended to roll over a lot last year, and I'm starting to ride a lot of balls out this year, and I'm hitting it well both sides of the plate.
So what's interesting,
off-season.
Both sides of the plate. Talk to me about that. One of the very unique switch hitters in this area. Is that something?
Oh no, I'm just saying like hitting it like the other way. Like
okay.
Last year,
you're talking opposite field. Okay, pull.
Yeah.
I'm sitting. I've only seen you bat the one way, but I could have been wrong.
I could switch. That'd be crazy. But.
Dude, yeah, absolutely. A catcher that switches, that's not necessarily out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
But as a catcher, let's talk about that for a minute. I always thought it was easier to do things offensively because you're back there. You're seeing every pitch firsthand. Do you feel that
Yeah.
same way, that you can kind of work into a game? You can figure out the umpire that works
Yeah.
behind you throughout the game?
Yeah, actually, like, I figure a lot of stuff out, like, first inning. I'm friends with a lot of umpires around here. Every game, like, we always talk. We always talk in between at bats. But I think you get a really good, like, I don't know, like, perspective of, like, the strike zone early on, and it really helps me with, like, just seeing the ball really well. I see the ball really well. Like, I know when a ball's, like, an off by, like, a couple of inches or not, and I usually get the call just because I am a catcher. But,
That's right.
um, yeah, like, I just see a lot of stuff way easier. I figure out the zone super early, and also because I'm a catcher, like, I call the game, so, like, I know a lot of sequences that guys use, and that also helps me a lot when I'm at the plate.
And that's one of the big things I was going to ask you. Perfect
Yeah.
segue. I mean, when you call the game, you feel like you're in control. You're the quarterback of the baseball field. What is it about a catcher like you that Coach DeBar and the coaching staff relies on? Basically, what you see out there on the field that they can't see from the dugout.
Definitely how, like when a batter each takes, like, each pitch, like, they give you something. Like, if they were just a little out in front, or they're like, "Oh crap, I'm late on that," and they try and blend it up as much as I can. I see that firsthand because I'm 2 feet behind the guy, so
Sure.
I usually see things of, like, what they, like, want to sit on and where they're looking, and I go opposite of that a lot. Like, if a guy looks out, I'll bust him in on his hands. Yeah, just pitch selection and, like, calling games and stuff is probably a lot of what DeBar likes the most, and I feel like I'm pretty good at it.
Okay, so obviously last season you guys really caught the entire baseball world around here by storm. Kind of
Yes.
flew under the radar the entire year, and then obviously the biggest game is still one that people talk about, the one against the one that Salem played against Canfield, and you
Yeah.
guys came away with what many would consider an upset. Now you guys are on everybody's radar throughout the entire season.
Yeah.
What has been the biggest difference in having that target on your chest this year? Not that you didn't last year, because you had some unique talent. Obviously, Lane Rhodes a big part of that season. But
Yes.
with different leadership in place this year, what have been some of the obstacles and challenges that you guys have faced this year that maybe you didn't face last year?
I think just the attitude of how we go by things now. Like, I remember at the start of the season, like, we all talked about, like, what we did last year, and nothing's for granted, dude. Like, there's so much talent in our area. Like, the EBC's got a lot of talent. Marlington's good. A lot of the other schools in our conference are good. Canfield's good. Hoven's good. Like, I think we just have to play like we did last year. Go as, like, everybody wants to beat us now of what we did, and we have to. I don't know. I think it's just kind of like you got to go like you're the underdog still, and just try and keep working your way through each game. And sadly, we didn't get to play Canfield our first game of the season. We were looking forward to it, and that's always going to be a good game. I feel like I know some of the guys over there; they were looking forward to it too. But yeah, man, we're just trying to get ready for these playoffs, and yeah, that's about it.
Let's talk about that swagger. It's a swagger that only Salem possesses. You are the leader, the swag master, if you will. Even on our text messages back and forth, it's better get your popcorn ready. Oh, we've had the popcorn ready. What is it about this team that brings that swagger? Is it in baseball? I think you have to have an attitude, and you got to know who you are. There's a confidence that you have to have when you go to the plate or when you go to the bump. Talk to me about the swagger of the Salem team that maybe oftentimes is misunderstood.
Well, the type of swag we have, like, we just do not take any crap from anyone. We just do our own thing. We're big believers in just be yourself. And I think, like, with this generation of baseball, not just in Ohio, but, like, around the country, like, everybody's wearing the jewelry. Everybody's going about, like, their way. They're talking smack, whatever. And we brought that to our team last year, and it was huge for us. It got all of us engaged, and yeah, that's how we go about it now still.
All right, I got to ask you, what's the best one-liner you've heard from the opposite dugout this year that even maybe made you crack a smile?
Trying to think. A lot of people don't really like talk smack to me, but there's everybody chirps at Carson or Jackson, and I love their reactions to it. And we all have each other's back on our team. Like, I remember we played Mooney, and someone said something to Carson while he was on the mound, something about how he's not throwing that hard. When I mean, in reality, I mean he does throw pretty hard.
Nobody knows better than you.
Yeah, the field got all quiet, and I was putting the sign down. I look at our shortstop, Kane Burt, and he looked at the dugout and said, "Oh, you guys are acting like Steve Harvey over there." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's like a big joke, like kind of like an inside joke on our team, like Steve Harvey. Like we just think it's the funniest thing ever."
Is there any time that you've ever been caught off guard by some of the chirping from the other dugout that you're like, man, that was a good one. You got me off my game a little bit.
I don't really get offended by like chirping that much. The stuff we say is absolutely the funniest things in the world. Like a lot of people take it to heart, but like in my opinion, like we don't really have beef with like anyone. Like we just try and have fun. Like last year, we had a fan in the stands who would always yell "boot it, boot it, boot it" whenever someone would make an error. And we've been doing that this year, and it's the funniest thing. Like Gavin will come out of the dugout like kicking dirt around and just jumping around.
And that's fun. I mean, to your point, I mean that it's a different era in baseball, and obviously it's not that you guys don't respect the game or anything along those lines. It's the fact that you're there to have fun with each other, to create memories and things of that nature. And I think there's a lot of misconception about what you guys, and just general about baseball around the area, baseball around the country. They're not used to the chirping that goes on nowadays, and you guys have acclimated to it well because let's face it, DB, you don't just play baseball in Salem. You go around the state, the country to play baseball and then bring it back to Quaker Nation. So when you go out there, are you kind of open-minded and a sponge and just trying to absorb things to bring back to the Quakers and to kind of maybe give you guys a leg up on the competition?
Like over the summer, like you get a wide variety of like how the game's played. Like summer ball last year for us, like it was just kind of like peaceful. It wasn't like any like chirping. Then you run into teams that would just go at you, and I think those teams that would go at you would end up winning just because like they're always engaged, and that is something we brought to this program last year, and we just skyrocketed. I remember the first couple games of the season, we started off kind of slow. I mean, just like we did this year, we always start off a little slow, but started off slow and we started to get more engaged, and we just realized like, who cares? Like, and we started having fun with it. Like I said earlier, we don't have like any problems with any teams. We all like each other, and we just brought it back to us last year, and it has always stayed. And that's about it, honestly.
So you're one of the ultimate team guys, but your slash looks like this. I mean, you're batting almost 500 on the year. You've got 22 RBIs, 2 dingers. Talk to me about everybody wants to do well, but I think you would give up all those stats in order for another shot at a state championship. Would you not?
Oh yeah, 100%.
So when you're looking you're looking at that, and winning a state championship is your ultimate goal, because that's a memory nobody can ever take away from you. You guys were super close. I mean, you were in the regionals last year, made it to the regional championship game. You were one step away from Akron. It's weird for me to say that because I'm still used to saying Columbus.
Yeah.
But you look at that, what at this moment in time, this juncture, as you guys get ready to set sail into the 2022 postseason, what would you give for another opportunity to hoist that trophy?
Oh, dude, I'd give anything up. Like I would give anything up, man. Like a state championship's like one of the hardest things to do in any sport. Like I remember when I used to run, like we would set our eyes like on state, and we'd just go one by one, like in each meet district, regional, state, and just try and squeak out till we got there. And it's one thing that it's super, super hard to do in, like I said, any sport. Like you have like a couple schools that have won it like back-to-back years or something crazy like that. Like that's really, really hard to do. And I'm pretty sure all of our guys on our team would give up anything to win a state championship. Sure.
You guys have a gauntlet. I mean, let's face it. You guys, once again, have to go through basically hell on wheels to be able to have a shot at that championship. Is there anything that concerns you about maybe something you had last year that you don't have this year? Or are you excited for the opportunity of what you have based on this team?
I'm actually pretty excited. I'm not really nervous about anything. I don't think any of the guys are really nervous about anything either. Like, yeah, sure, we dropped 2 to Marlington. We dropped 2 to West Branch. And we lost to Louisville, but I mean, in my eyes, like those are all winnable games. Like when we played Marlington, we both lost by 1. Of course, the one pass ball I have, it's the only run.
It's the way it always goes.
It's literally like the only pass ball I have this year. I've been a wall back, but anyways, Louisville, Gavin threw his heart out. It reminded me a lot of Hoban, where we just hit it right at guys. Same with Canton South. Like we hit balls just right at guys, just didn't go our way, and that's just baseball. But I'm not really that nervous. Like we saw actually a really good arm Friday, Jake Bean, and we manufactured 2 really good runs off them and left guys in scoring position. Like that's a positive to come out, and he's one of the best arms in the 2023 class. Like he's up to 93. Like I don't know, and he's super crafty also. And I just think, bottom line, I'm not that nervous. I'm actually really excited to see what we got. Yeah.
All right, so I got to make you pick between offense and defense. If you had to be out there and catch the game-winning strikeout, or if you had a chance to drive in the game-winning RBI, which one are you doing and why?
I'm hitting that game-winning run, obviously. I love hitting. Hitting's always been my thing. I've always been an offense type of guy. Like, if there's always one thing I could go back and rely on, it's offense. And a lot of kids, like, that's not really their thing. Like, as soon as they go 0 for 2, 0 for 3, then they just shut down and go down the little downward mental spiral. But, like, I typically bounce back from that just because my mental state's usually pretty good about things. I trust myself in any situation. And I had a conversation with our summer coach last year. We had a couple tight spots, and I was up to the plate, and I got the job done. And I told my dad, I'm like, hey, like, this is like the situations I like want to be in. And I'm not a lot of kids would like to step up to that. Like I would love to be in a bases loaded. I dream about it sometimes. Like obviously everybody dreams about the World Series if you like love baseball, sure. But like state championship, bases loaded, down by 1 or 2, and you hit that double into the gap, it clears them to win the game. That's always been a dream of mine, and I love those situations. But yeah, offense for sure.
All right, you ready for that? Because we're going to start to get into rapid fire. I've got 2 more basic questions for you. But the one is, you said you want to be in that situation, right?
Yes.
So let's say you get intentionally walked to load the bases, right? And you're down by 2. What teammate would you want with the game on the line in their hands, and why?
Ooh. Dude, honestly, I trust all of them. Like, I feel like our order 1 through 9, 1 through 10 with like the DH, whatever, like I trust all of them. Like last year, like I remember I get on base, I'm just like, all right, well, I'm scoring. Like I know Gavin was strong behind me. I knew Lane was strong behind Gavin. Brock was strong behind Lane. Jackson was good. Carson was good. I trust all of them, bottom line.
I love it. What a pro answer right there. Try to put you on the spot, and you just absolutely ducked and dived around it. I dig it. All right, dude, obviously with the stats in the slashes that you have going, you're going to get noticed, and obviously you're going on to the next level to play. Tell us about where you decided to play and what drew you to that.
Well, going into your senior year, every senior that's uncommitted is, you start to play like, oh, is it too late? Am I going to end up playing in college? Should I go to JUCO, D3, whatever? And I fell into the right, like my whole summer leading up to this, I wasn't really like in the right hands with teams. This off season, I fell into the hands of Brown Lee, and my good friends at PPA, Tyler and Ben, and also Mike Eversole got me the gig at Notre Dame, and I'm thankful for that because I was playing a little bit of a mind game, like on me, just because I love baseball so much. And I know like what I could do, and I know I could play at the next level. But yeah, I'm heading to Notre Dame College in Cleveland. I haven't really like picked a major yet. I'm bouncing between a couple options. You always got to have a couple of backup plans if things don't go your way. But
is there something that's driving you? Business? Is it communications? You communicate very, very well. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, I've always been a good speaker, but it's like something that has always interested me is forensic science and anything in the science field. I love that stuff, like the CSI, the forensics. I also like doing a bunch of stuff with like computers. Also, they have like this computer hacking stuff, and you get to see if people are like stealing money like from the government and stuff. I thought that was pretty sweet. But I'm just bouncing around between a couple options. I'm also really good with kids. So teaching's always been like just a backup plan of mine. But yeah, well, I'm gonna have to make a decision here real soon. But I'm not too worried about it. Like I got my plans aside.
Well, I just learned
So
something. So the next time, I
yeah.
hope I never make you mad. But if I do, and my website gets hacked, I know where I'm starting from the
yeah.
beginning. So.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's get into some rapid fire. You ready?
Alrighty. Yep.
All right. Who is your oldest friend, and where did you meet them?
Ooh. Gotta be Blaze. I grew up with Blaze. Blaze X-Line.
Okay.
And yeah, that was like day one of grade school right there.
Okay. What is the best / worst thing about work or school?
Just going. Like dude, going to school and then like I get all my stuff done like early on in the day. So I just have like I said, like I texted you today, like I didn't have anything. Like and I still gotta be here just because we have a game, but I'll get my stuff done and I just gotta wait for like 5 hours to get out of school.
No, wait a minute.
It's
Wait a
so
minute. If
bad.
we're talking about the actual text message you sent me, like I don't understand some of this
I got
lingo
nothing,
that you
dude.
have. So I can do
Oh, boy.
120, and I said perfect, and I'm done with school because I'm swag. What does that mean?
Oh yeah. Okay. I I mean, I just got all my stuff done. I'm just waiting. I'm just doing nothing. Like I don't know. I always
Because
use
in
that
my
type of
world,
stuff when I
swag
text.
means
Yeah.
stuff we all get,
Oh yeah.
or it's a swagger.
Yeah.
All right,
It's
I
it's just
respect that.
swag. It is what it is, dude.
All right, what were you really into when you were a kid before baseball?
Ooh, I was actually. That's a tough one. I've always actually like always been super interested in baseball, but this is a tough one. Honestly, I don't know if I can answer this because I've always been like doing baseball since I was young.
So if you were in kindergarten and they
Um,
said, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" What did you say?
oh, I don't know, probably like a police officer or something like that. Everybody when they're little says something like that, like fireman, policeman. I probably said the police officer because I remember we went on a field trip and I saw they had like their tasers and I thought that thing was so sweet or whatever. Like they had that gun on their hip and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be
So
like that. But
you want a quick little story to make you feel a little bit better about that answer?
sure,
Is
yeah.
I was asked that same question when I was in kindergarten, but obviously being a 4 or 5-year-old, you don't understand history.
Oh
And
yeah.
we just got done with Thanksgiving, and I wanted to be like one of the Indians. And I'll never the teacher, my
Oh yeah.
kindergarten teacher, just kind of looked at me because everybody wanted to be a policeman or a fireman,
Yeah.
and I wanted to be an Indian. I don't know what it drew me to it, and she just kind of like ghosted. Dude, couldn't have
Indians
picked a
are
worse
sweet,
one.
man.
They're
Indians
awesome,
are
but the
sweet.
problem was
Yeah.
is you didn't want to be. They got pushed out of here.
Yeah.
Bad news. All right, next one. If you could have any animal as a pet, what would it be and why?
Ooh, dude, that's a tough one. Probably like a Black Panther. I think those are sweet. I remember like I mean that's just like my favorite animal. Like I don't know. I think they're just sweet. Honestly, that's about it. That's all I can give you.
I would go polar bear, but I would probably also get eaten by it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
if we could tame it, we'd be all right.
Oh yeah.
If you opened a business, what kind of business would it be?
It would probably be like just like baseball stuff, dude. A lot of people don't understand. Like I've been playing baseball since I've been like 7 years old, and it's always been my thing. It's like it's a part of my life, and like if I were to ever open up a business, it'd be something I like, and I've always liked baseball, so I'd probably open up like a school or something to like train kids, get like velo up, like hitting lessons, doing all that stuff, which I do now. I don't do pitchers obviously because I don't pitch, but
You
I
pitch,
do
don't
hitting
lie.
lessons.
You pitch.
Okay, dude, I pitched against United and I got us out of a jam in West Branch, which was unexpected, by the way. The bar goes, "Hey man, you good to go?" I said, "Sure." Toss me up on that mound.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
What in your life outside of baseball brings you the most joy?
Ooh. That's a Tough one. I've always, this is gonna be a weird answer, but I've always like worked. Like the thought of like getting money and stuff has always been like, I don't know, it just makes me get up and like do things. Like the other day, we have like a family farm, and that's something like I've always liked doing is like working out there with like my cousins and stuff, like doing cows, like hay, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always just been like kind of like my thing ever since I was like growing up. We've always like head over there and like take care and help out. But I don't know, like nothing really. I don't really like do that much. I'm kind of boring. But yeah, a lot of it revolves around baseball. So when I'm not doing baseball, I either work or I'm just playing like Fortnite or something. But other than
All right,
that, yeah, it's nothing much.
last question for you. Ready?
Yeah.
Who has had the biggest impact on the person you have become today?
So not to get like too deep or anything, but in 8th grade, I had a sister that passed away. Her name was Jet. And that's always been like a thing that I've always played for, whether it's summer. And this year I've actually been able to like speak on it just because like I'm okay to like talk about it and stuff now. Another person that I've like, he's probably gonna think this is weird too, but I know you know Nate Shaw. Nate Shaw's he's a cool kid. He's gone through a lot in his life, and I've gone through a lot in my life, and I relate to him with a lot of things. And I just think what he's doing is awesome, and I'm starting to like bring that over like to me too, because it helps your mental state, and it like helps me play well. And I've always played for her, and yeah, that's about it, honestly. But
Dude, that's
yeah.
a very serious answer, and obviously we're all here for you, man. And we're proud of you, what you've accomplished already, and what you have yet to accomplish and really overtake. We're so proud of you. We're incredible. We're huge fans. I'm a huge fan myself, especially from a catcher standpoint. They don't make them much better than DB12. So keep doing what you're doing, young man. We're proud of you. We can't wait to follow you the rest of this journey, and then obviously on to Notre Dame College, man. Thanks for your time.
Yep. Thank you guys for having me.
It is time for the Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark, presented by our friends over in North Lima. You can visit them on their campus in North Lima or on the web at dickieelectric.com. Obviously, with that, the tail end of that interview is something that I want everybody to focus on, because how do I put this? Salem, teams like Salem, we have several teams in this area that have gotten a bad rap for being the bad boys, or being that team that does X, Y, or Z. These are still kids, man. These are still kids. And what bothers me amongst all of it is a lot of times, and we've talked about this before on the show, it's the parents or it's the spectators or the adults in the situation that are pouring the gasoline on the flames. And really the ones that the kids, no matter if they're 14, no matter if they're 18, they're still looking to you for answers. They're still looking for you to how to act. And we have adults that are taking great opportunities away from kids because of what is said in the dugout, what is said because they're kids. They're kids at the end of the day. And I listen, nobody more than myself respect the game, right? First and foremost, respect the game, respect your school. You are a representative of both of those, as well as your parents, as well as your family, as well as your community. But we also have to remember that these are 18-year-olds, and there's a reason that you don't give an 18-year-old the keys to your Lamborghini. You know, it's a situation where you have to realize you got to read the room a little bit. You got to understand. And Darius Beck, along with some of those other kids in Salem and so many other schools, he speaks very maturely, right? He's a great communicator, but it doesn't mean that they haven't gone through stuff. doesn't mean that they don't have bad days. It doesn't mean that they don't have, times that their back's up against it and they need somebody to lean on. Be that person to lean on. Don't add to the rage. Don't add to their frustration. Be someone that they can look to and say, hey, I appreciate you being there when times were tough for us. I appreciate you, not necessarily calling them out in a public setting, but taking them kind of next to the dugout and say, hey, do you understand what it looks like here? Be that guy, be that girl that does that. The world needs more of that. And hopefully, I wasn't privy to any of that information prior to that interview. It caught me by surprise with Darius about his sister. Tragic. Obviously, it's been a while. It's been a few years. But there's not a time that I won't pray for that young man and his family from this day forward. Tragedy strikes everybody, and everybody has things in their life that you'll never understand unless you walk a mile in those shoes. And ladies and gentlemen, I've only walked a mile in mine, and I've walked several. But compassion, sympathy, empathy, it goes a long way. And instead of, again, cranking the stove up to 450 and watching people bake, let's ice it a little bit. And remember that when we go out to these games, when we go out to these events, these are kids. These are somebody's children. Speak positively, speak with respect, and maybe that will come back around. Be the example. I think it's as simple as that, is be the example that you want to see, as opposed to adding on to what already is. So that's going to do it for the show. Thanks, Darius Beck, for that great extended interview. You'll be able to see it on YSN Live tonight. Lots of games on the docket. Well, I shouldn't say lots. Lots were canceled. And we still have, let me make sure I have this up for you to close out the show. May 18th. That's too far. We want May 16th. All right. Cheney at Poland. We will have Noah Doty has that call. That starts at 5 o'clock. Southeast at Garfield. Matt will have that one. Crestwood at LeBray. Brian Oatridge has the coverage from that. I'm on my way to Pymatuning Valley at East Palestine. We also have Matthews at Badger, which is going to get underway in just a minute. At 5:30, we'll have Matt Morrison on Chalker versus Brookfield. And then we already have Ty Bartell out there, Louisville at Austintown Fitch. So $9.99 gets you all those games. Enjoy it. The Power Play, Power Pass. Thank you for supporting YSN local business. Thank you for supporting these kids. And thank you for always tuning in on the YSN Power Hour. Until tomorrow from 3 to 4, my name is DJ Yoakley. We'll see you then. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you tomorrow. YSN thanks you for watching this